which tore a hole in it. He says he wore that jacket every single day that winter, and that hole reminded him of his first experience with gun violence. In the decades since, Shaka has been around countless shootings. He can't remember how many people he knows who have been shot and killed. It's weird, too, because I'm kind of forgetful, and it's sad because I forgot a lot of these niggas' names. Shaka says, I got friends that died 10 years ago. You know how much life I lived since they died? Now, he's pretty far removed from that environment, working as a wind technician in Rhode Island. He'll chuckle sometimes as he reminisces about some of these events, but he knows the impact they've had on him and his community. When you take a drug and it has side effects, this is the side effect, Shaka says. This is a side effect of no jobs, no education, no resources. When you're poor, it's an us against them mentality. Hearing these kinds of stories and witnessing the violence myself as I grew up would eventually inspire me when I pursued a career in journalism. Fast forward to February 2020. I was sitting at my desk in the Time magazine office right next to Bryant Park in New York City. By this point, Time employees, based in the city, had only been in this space for a few months. We were previously in the Meredith building in Lower Manhattan. It was the nicest office space I ever worked in. But the funny thing is, I actually preferred the setup of our new Midtown office, which resembled a traditional newsroom. Every time I exited the elevators onto our floor, I felt like I was in the Washington Post newsroom from All the President's Men. By February 2020, I had only been at the Time for less than 9 months and was still getting used to my job, but I loved every second of working there. As I look back now, February 2020 is crucial to everything about this book. It was about a month before the COVID-19 pandemic would really begin in the United States and change the face of the country and the rest of the world. By this point, I was certainly aware that the coronavirus was starting to make global headlines, but like a lot of other people, I wasn't that concerned. I didn't believe that there was much to worry about. My attention was focused on my beat as a reporter, which was criminal justice issues, particularly gun violence. At first, I wanted to cover sports. Once I got to college, though, my attention shifted. My own personal experiences and those of my family made criminal justice issues more appealing for me as a journalist. When it came to gun violence, I didn't understand why no one in the mainstream media seemed to care about the hundreds of Black people who are killed every day in our communities. I wanted to give those stories the attention I felt they deserved. When I joined Time in June 2019, it was an honor to be able to cover them for such a legacy news outlet. I grew up hearing about gun violence and being around it. Now, I'm covering it as a journalist. As 2019 was winding down, I was working on an end-of-year roundup about several cities that had experienced an uptick in gun violence incidents. I wanted it to run in January 2020, but there were a lot of discussions on the right time to publish the piece. In journalism, the timing of when certain stories are published depends on the news peg, a trending topic in the mainstream media that makes a specific story relevant. So if there's a nationwide food shortage that has the attention of politicians, media outlets will be eager to publish news stories about food shortages. Gun violence in the Black community is not that story. It's an age-old tale that doesn't move the needle in the eyes of many national newsroom decision-makers, unless there's a white cop pulling the trigger. In my experience, stories about the Black community entail a higher burden of justification. I was still working on this story in February 2020. I had a crucial interview to do one day. It was with a Johns Hopkins University professor named Daniel Webster, one of the leading experts on this issue. This was my first time speaking with him. I was trying to get some perspective from him on the state of gun violence in the country. As we wrapped up the call, he made a comment about the concerns around the coronavirus and gun violence. He suggested that if there were a situation in which a virus